In thousands of homes, vigorous workmen rise to meet a new day and a new opportunity. The morning sun stirs the nation's workmen. Located in every region of the country, the clans are gathering for the work of a new day. Along the roads to the factories, tens of thousands begin to mass. The tramp of many feet makes way for the rhythmic hum of smooth spinning machinery. Under the guidance of skilled workmen, comfort and speed and safety, all that fine automobiles are made of, all that the builders need, is ready for assembly.
You are about to witness the very exciting story of a city and its people. It will be an adventure that will open new sights in familiar surroundings. It is a story of a city seeking new horizons in a resolute contest with great challenges.
I have 23 communities to choose from. My housing prices are cheap. My children are safe. Why wouldn't I want to live here?
I can even think back 10 years to when, we had the good times. Everybody's working, everybody's doing well.
Stringing us along. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
I served as an auto worker for a number of years. I was with Canadian Auto Workers, president of Labor Council here in Chatham, Kent, president of the local union. Most people, our fathers, our grandfathers worked in the factory, and then our fathers went and worked in the factories, and then our kids worked in the factories, and life was great. That's all gone now. It's all changed. That isn't happening anymore. We enjoyed the fruit of the tree of the auto industry. That fruit's gone. The forest fire came in. But now we got to replant the tree and we got to move forward. And how are we going to do that? It's always a shock. It always hurts when a plant closes its doors. That initial shock is when, the plant's going to close. And then from there you start to plan, well, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to make sure my daughter or son go to university or college? How am I going to make sure, it's just all those 1,001 questions that come through your mind after you hear the initial announcement.
Chatham's in a real tough state. You've lost more than 50, maybe 60% of the factories just in town. I worked at Rockwell International in Tilbury. I started there in August, I think, 1983, and they officially closed in June of 2009.
I worked at Navistar in Chatham for about 17 years. I started in June of 1994, and they closed officially in 2011. I went back to school thinking I had to start a new career path, but when you go for the job interviews and that, everybody wants experience.
When you finally walk out the door for the last time and punch out, like we were the last few people to leave. There was only like 12 of us left in Tilbury, 12, 14 maybe the last day, and out of over 600 in the heyday. You do start looking. Some guys did, some didn't. The biggest thing I noticed was the people you worked with every day, forever. You're there almost more than you were at home, when you think about it. A lot of those people you never see again.
Before they came to Meritor, they worked at a place for 19, 20 years, and right out of high school, and they thought, oh, this is where I'm going to retire. This is my livelihood. And then I can't even begin to imagine what that would be like and the stress that would be on an individual, on their family. To all of a sudden, after 20 years, say, we're closing the doors, you're going to have to go somewhere else and find employment.
There are no lifetime jobs anymore. At least I don't believe there are. I've worked at 20 different factories. I started in 1973. I went as a summer student between grade 11 and 12. In 1994, they announced the closing of the company. I'd been with them for 21 years. I'd never had to look for a job. I was lost.
When I originally started here, I started in 2005. And I was very excited when I started because now it's like I'm making a great middle class wage. I have some benefits. You know, things are starting to look really good now. Maybe it's a chance to buy a new house and upgrade finally. It seems like, hey, I've hit a turning point in my life. This is great. I'm really, really lucky. I wasn't quite here for a full year, and that's when a layoff hit. We were told at the time, this is just a temporary layoff. It will not be that long. You'll be back soon. Well, the layoff lasted almost a full year.
I mean, Chatham-Kent has paid its price because it's been a supply base. It's been a tier 1, tier 2 supplier system to the auto industry, and with the restructuring and people looking for cheaper costs from international corporations, we've lost significantly. Motor Wheel, we've lost Eaton's both here in Chatham and in Wallaceburg. We've lost the Navistar plant, which was the last truck manufacturer in Canada. We've lost it. So has Chatham-Kent claimed its fair share? I would believe more than its fair share of job losses in this community.
At the time, you collect unemployment, and for the first, month or two, it's almost like a vacation. You're saying, well, this is a nice time for me to get some things done around the house, just relax, have some time to myself. But unfortunately, after that, you start to worry. It's like, am I ever going to go back? Am I going to have that stable employment again? I just want to go back to work.
From there, I went to Meritor in Milton. I went there and I stayed there for about 5 years while my family is in Guelph, and I just commuted back and forth to work. 2005 came, I got laid off there. After that, I got a job at a company called Kina Steel.
Spring came along, and I'm getting phone calls from Meritor. Well, you have to make your choice. Are you going to come back or not? Now, coming back to work was just, it's almost for lack of better words to use, euphoric to be back in the plant. It's like, I'm back. Here I am. I can start over again. Life's going to be good. I'm back on course. Unfortunately, this time it only lasted 5 weeks. Now I got a bigger problem. It's like, well, I don't know when I'm going to be back now. I've got no unemployment to lean on.
It was just a nightmare. We ran out of savings, everything else.
Was almost an 80% cut in our income. We went from $160,000 roughly a year down to $29,000. So you talk about a major shift.
Lifestyle change.
In rural Ontario, we don't like to change, okay? And that's something we've got to realize we're going to have to. This isn't a recession that just hit Chatham-Kent. This is a recession that hit the North American market, slapped them in the face, and now everybody's shocked.
This was so automotive in this area that's where it's really, what are we going to do next, So yeah, the small communities definitely would be hit harder.
In Tilbury with Rockwell closing, or Meritor, and then now Woodbridge, people might start moving out of the towns and things like that.
And there is people leaving. Like, I know guys that are driving down to Highgate. They're driving down to the Cami plants now, and they come home every weekend.
I hate it when I hear about, how somebody's child had to leave, went to post-secondary education and now has to leave the community to find a job. It hurts.
My daughter, she just couldn't wait for me to come home. I'd come home and she'd say, oh, thank God you're home, and how long are you home for, and take Monday off. And my wife, I think I shredded every nerve in her body, being gone all the time, wouldn't come home except for every second weekend, maybe. Trying to do as much overtime as I could so that I could send extra money home.
I kind of chuckled with one of my friends not too long ago. We talked about, I think our conversation came to, we talked about all the closures in this community and say, well, sadly enough, what more do we have to lose? We've almost hit that rock bottom. So what do we have to worry about now? What more do we have to lose in this community from a manufacturing perspective? It was very hard. So probably a year and a half later, finally, I've been back ever since, knock on wood. But it was tough in those years. It was probably, I'd say close to accumulated 3 years worth of layoff.
When you started doing it 30 years ago, it was probably right. But now things have changed and you can't do the same thing you did 30 years ago. You've got to change to keep up, to lower costs, to do this, to do that, to work smarter, not harder. Those theories need to come into play today. It doesn't, let's face it, the downturn in the economies whacks you. Everybody gets laid off. But to rebuild a community, it's going to take block by block by block. And we're going to get there. I really feel confident we're going to get there.
It'd be tough on us to really find something of this caliber. You know, we can, at the end of the day, we know this is a great job and we're very fortunate to have it. And I don't think this is something that you can replace very easily, at least in this community. Like I said, we're very unique here. We're one of the last places left, that in manufacturing that's, like this caliber and quality. The way I see it going is we're still going to feel that pressure here in this, especially in Canada. We're going to feel that pressure of globalization because really in the world, if you look at it, it's a race to the bottom right now. Who can do it the cheapest?
So, in our strategy here in Chatham, Canada, it's about working with our existing labor force, working with our existing employers, look at diversification of your industries, and look at new market opportunities, and also to look at government funding on research and development, because the key to success will be through research and development in those different sectors. So let's look at how we can get that ball spinning and how we can create more entrepreneurs and businesses around us that require workers in order to do that. If we do that, success will come to us. But to stay pat and not move and not do nothing, you're going to get exactly that, nothing. I don't have a university degree. I don't have a college degree. I'm an auto worker.
It'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they'll fill you with fear. The trouble that might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home. Oh.